The Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association and your local cable provider presents Cable Reports. Join us now as Cable Reports brings you up to date on current issues facing the Commonwealth through discussions with your local legislators and other policymakers from across Virginia.
Welcome to a special edition of Cable Reports. I'm Woody Evans for the Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association. We all know that Virginia is for lovers, and that's why we have with us today Rita McClenny, who's the president and CEO of the Virginia Tourism Corporation. Welcome.
Hi, Woody. Thank you. It's so great to be here with you.
Well, tell us why Virginia is for lovers.
Well, for 44 years, Virginia has been for lovers. And the slogan came out of there's so much to do in Virginia. There's so many wonderful attractions, sites, things to do, places to go, that the Martin Agency back in 1969 developed this campaign to promote Virginia as a place for leisure travel. And we've been with it for 44 years. And Virginia's for Lovers is known around the world. You can go any place in the world, and I'll guarantee you, if you say Virginia's for Lovers, or if you have on a ball cap or a t-shirt, someone's going to smile. And one thing, it always brings a smile to one's face. And we still use it today. And right now, we're talking about love is at the heart of every Virginia vacation. So that goes along with our brand identity of Virginia's for Lovers.
That's great. Now, you've been president and CEO, I believe, since November of last year. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm very fortunate that the governor appointed me as the new CEO for Virginia Tourism. I lead a great organization of 117 people that are located in Richmond and in Southwest Virginia, Southern Virginia, and the Virginia coastal region of the state, as well as in our 10 welcome centers. We have a great team of people, travel counselors, who advise people who are traveling around the Commonwealth for things to do, places to see, and essentially helping extend travel while they're in Virginia.
Great. And prior to that, though, you headed up the motion picture division of the Department of Tourism, did you not?
Yes. It was a job very glorious and a job of a lifetime. And the many projects that we worked on in the Virginia Film Office have brought so much attention to Virginia. And not only the jobs and the economic revenue that it brings when a production is in the state and on location, but it also brings awareness to Virginia. We recently launched the Lincoln Movie Trail site, which will accompany the film, and people can then come to Virginia and experience what it's like to walk in the footsteps of Steven Spielberg and Daniel Day-Lewis and Tommy Lee Jones and Sally Field. So we think that our movie trail, it already has, and it will continue to really inspire travel to Virginia to experience our history, which, of course, we have a great legacy on history.
Well, thank you for bringing that film to the Commonwealth. But I want you to talk a little bit about why that's important in terms of economic development and job creation.
Well, film production is a very large and growing industry around the world. And our place in it domestically for Virginia is that we're well suited because of our location on the East Coast for filmmakers to come here for our environment, for the locations, and for the people. We have many fine institutions across Virginia: VCU, Hampton University, Norfolk State, Virginia State, University of Virginia, William and Mary, Virginia Tech, the list goes on, of the universities who are training students to work in the field of the arts, entertainment, and really working behind the scenes as well as in front of the camera. So there are job opportunities for all these students who are graduating from our colleges and from our community colleges, frankly.
And of course, the state's history goes hand in hand with a partnership you have with the sesquicentennial celebration.
Oh yes, the sesquicentennial that we are commemorating right now, which goes to 2015. Each year we have anniversaries of historic moments that happened in Virginia. More of the Civil War was fought in Virginia than any other state. And because of the Emancipation Proclamation, which was signed in 1863, we've just commemorated the 150th signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. In fact, I was just at Hampton University under Emancipation Tree, which is where the location for the first reading in Virginia of the Emancipation Proclamation. There were so many locations that the 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, visited in Virginia around that time. He was at Fort Monroe, he was at Hampton, he was in Petersburg, he was in Richmond, and many locations around the state that the president visited during the war. And that's a central part of the movie. So if you haven't seen Lincoln, I would suggest that you go out and check it out. It's still in theaters, and it'll be out on DVD in March, the latter part of March.
Great. Now, Hampton Institute, of course, is one of the historically black colleges and universities in the Commonwealth. And I know you are a graduate of Fisk University, and this happens to be Black History Month. Give us your thoughts.
Absolutely. Well, it's a wonderful time for people to understand the contributions of African Americans, not only in Virginia, but in the world, and have a moment to really honor and trace back our history, because I think really our history does inform our future, and we should acknowledge the contributions, but also know that the future is very bright for students and for people to continue to make contributions that are important to the development of not only Virginia, the U.S., but in the world. And it's a time to really transfer that education and that knowledge to young people, which is so important, because none of us sitting here lived in that time, but we can appreciate and, again, use history as a launching pad for the future and always use it to inform what we do.
And of course, once again, Virginia is for lovers, and we've got a celebration coming up this week that your organization is involved with. Yes,
we are working on with Delegate Chris Peace on the Road to Revolution, and we're always involved in many projects that, again, are expanding the knowledge on history, where to find Virginia history, and we are the mother of presidents. So our many iconic locations from Montpelier to Mount Vernon and Monticello are very important, and again, inform the world who come to Virginia to visit about the history of our state and how it was a part of this American experiment, and that we are the founding of Jamestown, 1607, the first English settlement, that all of this history is so important to America and to the development and formation of our principles.
And I've noticed on your website that will appear on the screen that there is also something dealing with Valentine's Day.
Yes, well, we have, because it is a month of love and Virginia's for lovers, we always celebrate Valentine's Day in a huge way with different events and festivities that are surrounding Valentine's Day. We always send out an opportunity to go to our website, virginia.org, where individuals can send messages to loved ones and invite them to be a part of the Virginia experience and to come here to visit, to live, and to play.
Give us a glimpse of some of the things that will be happening throughout the year.
Well, throughout the year, we have many events that happen on a continuing basis. For example, adventure. There are many reasons that people travel, and one of the reasons is for adventure. And you can go to our mountains, you can go to Wallis Island to space travel, adventure travel. You can go out to Virginia Beach, where there are many opportunities to go for whale watching and to join in to see nature at its best. So in Virginia, there are just so many incredible ways to be outdoors, to enjoy the festivities that are happening throughout the state. So we do commemorate and celebrate. And for tourists coming in, they're looking for ways to engage with each other and to be with their families. So we really like to have as a centerpiece where families can enjoy one another. It's not only on a wonderful roller coaster ride if you go to King's Dominion or Busch Gardens, but it's also if you walk the streets of Colonial Williamsburg to experience our history. Or if you want to go out and have some adventure golf, get to Kings Mill. But there's so many great places where you can take in a family vacation, have something for everyone. Maybe mom wants to go to a spa and dad wants to go play around the golf, but the kids want to definitely get out to the beach, and you can, again, have any kind of experience that you want to. We think that whatever you want on a vacation, you can certainly find it in Virginia.
Now, your duties and responsibilities require you and your organization to market the state throughout the nation and the world. Tell us how you manage to do that.
Yes, we are, Virginia Tourism is the chief marketing officer, we see ourselves, for the Commonwealth of Virginia. And we do this in many ways. We do it on an international basis to spur and encourage travelers to come from abroad. And one of the big reasons is they fly into Dulles Airport, which is a location for more than 400 flights a day that come in and out of Dulles to 26 foreign destinations. And these travelers spend much of their time in Virginia. Many of them may go to the nation's capital, but they also find their way to Virginia. One of the items that's being promoted right now is Loudoun County is DC's wine country, for example. So when an international traveler lands in Virginia at Dulles Airport, they spend time at our wineries in Loudoun County, Fairfax County, and they end up in Arlington, Alexandria. So really Northern Virginia is very much a draw for international travelers. But we see that they also find their way to get to Southwest Virginia, to go to Abingdon, to the Barter Theater, to go to the Breaks Interstate Park. There's so many wonderful outdoor adventure places for people to experience who come from abroad, and they really are finding our Virginia wines, for example, as something that's quite interesting and delectable and that they like to experience. And that goes along with our culinary. Our oysters, for example, there's 7 oyster regions in Virginia.
7?
7. Bet you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
And they go from sweet to briny and everything in between. So with Virginia oysters, we are positioning Virginia oysters as the oyster of America. And we want everyone to go and try a Virginia oyster. But you can combine that with Smithfield ham and many traditions that we find with Virginia food. So marketing culinary and food and beverage is something that is very interesting. We now have 40 craft beer breweries in Virginia, as well as...
That many? 40?
Yeah, 40.
Wow.
And that's growing every day. And we also have cideries. So in New Advent, we now commemorate and celebrate Wine Month, Craft Beer Month in August. Wine Month is in October, and Cider Week is in November.
I understand there are over 270 wineries now in the state of Virginia.
Yes, and we have been ranked top 5 in the world in terms of wine region. So we're very proud of our wineries.
Now, all of those entities you mentioned are small businesses.
Yes.
And that is good for the Commonwealth in terms of entrepreneurship, revenue growth on the private side, which translates into taxes and benefits to everyone in the Commonwealth.
Yes. Tourism is big business in Virginia. And the impact for 2011 was $20.4 billion.
$20.4 billion.
$20.4 billion was the visitor spending based on travel in Virginia in 2011. And that accounted for about 207,000 jobs, Virginians working in the hospitality and travel industry. And that equated to $1.3 billion in state and local taxes.
Wow. So
that's a very significant impact for the bottom line for Virginia. And we know there are responsibilities that government has, and tourism is an instant revenue generator for the state, because that money goes immediately into the state coffers and can be put to work, again, for the responsibilities that the Commonwealth has. We know that roads are important. We know that education is very important. So all of these important endeavors are being funded by hospitality and by travelers who come to Virginia, and business people who travel to Virginia.
Now, do you and your staff find yourselves on the road a lot, not only throughout the Commonwealth, but throughout the nation and perhaps internationally?
Well, we do find ourselves marketing Virginia all over the world. We have gone to Asia. We go certainly to California to market Virginia as a destination for filmmaking. And we travel to shows and events where people are looking for travel packages, where we're working with tour operators, where we have our international presence. Again, recruiting and attracting visitors to come here from all over the world. So we do travel, and we do spread the word about Virginia, and that it is a great and wonderful place to visit.
Now, you spent your first 20 years primarily with the motion picture industry. Tell us how difficult it was to get Steven Spielberg to pick Virginia as a site, and what were some of the discussions you had in order to do that?
Well, I would say recruiting any project is very competitive, and the world, as we know, is a very competitive place. So we had some very earnest conversations with Stephen, not only about locations, but about the business aspect of recruiting Lincoln to the state. But he had a great backdrop. He had filmed 2 projects in Virginia prior to Lincoln, Minority Report, which was filmed in the Gloucester area, and War of the Worlds, which was filmed in the Rockbridge County, Lexington area. So Lincoln Stephen had said, I want to come back. I want to be back in Virginia, and I have this project that I'm working on, Lincoln. And his designer, Rick Carter, came here to look at locations, but they were looking at other states as well. So Virginia, along with Andy Edmonds, conversations with the governor, and the governor and Stephen had conversations, and we really contribute the governor's conversation with Stephen as very essential to him deciding on Virginia, as well as the economic package that we put in front of him for incentives, because all of it was very important in terms of recruiting the project to Virginia. And essentially, it came down to the many assets that we have here. You know, your backdrop right there on your behind you, Woody, is the state capitol. And this was an essential part of the film shooting in Virginia. They shot in our House chamber as Congress. And the grounds of the Capitol were a very important part of the film. And if you see it, Virginia is just all over this. 100% of the film was shot in Virginia. The governor and the First Lady, Mrs. McDonnell, allowed the filmmakers into their home to film as well. So really, we did open the doors to Virginia to them. And Petersburg was a fantastic backdrop. And, you know, so much of the real history can be found in Virginia that happened during that time. So what Mr. Spielberg said is that I also selected Virginia because of the authenticity, because of the rich history that these locations have, that they felt like they were also walking in history as they were creating this history from 1865.
As you say, it's very competitive. So talk to us in a little bit more detail about some of the economic incentives that you were able to provide Mr. Spielberg.
Well, as a part of the package, we looked at what other states were doing because we knew that we had an advantage in terms of the locations, that we had put together a really compelling package with not only the state, but with the city of Richmond and the city of Petersburg. And we also knew that they were looking at tax programs from other states as well as some cash incentives. So we put together a balanced package of locations, local support, as well as the tax credit program, as well as the cash grant program. So essentially this package put us over the top. And we were not going to take our eye off the ball to get, you know, the true prize, which is to have this movie filmed here, because we also knew that we had the best package on the table, that we had put forth the best promotional opportunity for Virginia also, because a part of this is having on the DVD that'll be coming out, as I mentioned, towards the end of March, is that there are scenes and bonus material that will essentially promote Virginia unto itself.
Oh, I see.
The filmmakers will talk about their extraordinary experience working here and the cooperation, but these fantastic sets that they found, and that they were also walking in living history. So all of this, in terms of the financial package, was a piece of it, because we wanted to make sure that we are in the DVD and that Virginia will be promoted for years to come.
So what is your biggest challenge and what keeps you up at night?
Oh, wow. What keeps me up at night? There's lots to think about, you know. And really, it's just all good because it's so encouraging. Virginia is so well positioned because we are an attractive place to visit and to spend time with family and friends. But also, it's very competitive. So we always look for the advantages. We want to have the best website. We were selected, Virginia, as the best state website in 2012, selected by other state tourism offices around the country. So that happened in Boston last year. So we're very proud that we do have the best state website. But also being at the forefront of social media and having the right tools to attract visitors and to communicate with visitors in the way that they are communicating with each other. And to have just, you know, great images and always being at the forefront of promoting the best that we have in Virginia. Our travel guide, for example, is a wonderful resource, as well as our website, for finding things to do for family and friends when they come and visit. And, you know, one of the big reasons that people come to Virginia is to visit family and friends. So we don't want to miss that mark either, that if you're in Virginia and you're a Virginian, we consider you one of our best ambassadors and advocates of having your family and friends come in to visit Virginia and to spend their time.
Certainly your website has a wealth of information. I noticed it has an entire section on 10 historic hotels in the Commonwealth. Talk to us a little bit about those hotels.
Yeah, these hotels have their time machines because they tell their own stories. The Craddock Hotel in Lynchburg, you know, it was a former shoe factory. There's a hotel in Smith County that is in Marion, and this beautiful hotel is next door to a theater, and you walk in and you can just feel the history that sort of emerges out of, like stories from the past. So these historic hotels that we have are a beautiful draw for people who want to, again, immerse themselves in Virginia history, immerse themselves in the restoration and kind of a time gone by, but also having the modern conveniences and services of any wonderful establishment. So if you go to virginia.org and you click on historic hotels, you will find these beautiful places to stay. In addition to bed and breakfasts, we have so many wonderful inns and bed and breakfasts. And one amazing asset that we have coming on board this year is Salamander Resort. Sheila Johnson has built one of the most luxurious and amazing resorts that will be opening in August of 2013. And I encourage everyone to go check it out. It's in Middleburg, and it's going to be one that people will talk about and will want to be a part of that experience. She has culinary opportunities, beautiful accommodations, as well as an equestrian facility, and you're right there within walking distance of the historic, quaint town of Middleburg.
Now, what about some of the more economically depressed parts of the state? For example, South Side. If I were encouraging someone to go to Southside Virginia, where would I encourage them to go to take advantage of tourism?
Oh, there are lots of beautiful choices. I'm from Southampton County, and I don't think of us as depressed, but if you look at the statistics,
right,
there are economic challenges. But one of the things that you find in a lot of our small towns in Virginia is the people, and you also find ways to experience different adventures that people want to take, or to look at, how do I learn more about this place? How do I become a part of a trail? We have the Rail to Trails in La Crosse, Virginia, and it runs throughout sort of the Route 58 corridor. There's some beautiful state parks that you can go to. So if you look at sort of the abundance of product that we have across Virginia in every region of the state, that there are so many things to do. If you go to Southwest Virginia, there's so many artisans that have their products on sale that you can acquire without going to the artist's home or to their studio. For example, at Heartwood. Heartwood we see as sort of a gateway to Southwest Virginia, but it tells the story of the people, the music that you can find in any of these areas. And again, it's a combination of whatever you want on vacation, you can certainly find it in Virginia.
Now, what about Roanoke and the Shenandoah Valley, those areas of the state?
Oh, Shenandoah Valley, yes, amazing. From dairy farms to beautiful mountain vistas that you can take in, to drives along the Blue Ridge Parkway. I think Roanoke, Star City, is also known for wonderful restaurants, great music, fantastic things to do, nightlife. The beautiful Hotel Roanoke, and then they have the Winston O. Lincoln Museum, the Transportation Museum. So up and down the valley, there are really several assets that you can take in, and some of our finer colleges. If you look at Lexington, Lexington is a place that's also known for people who have retired there, artists who live in Lexington, Virginia. They find this historic town with two major colleges, Washington and Lee and VMI. It's just a beautiful place to spend the rest of their lives. And again, a place where people like to come to visit, to experience the food, the history, and the beautiful homes.
And I think you may have mentioned it earlier in passing, but many people don't realize we have a renowned Shakespeare theater in the Commonwealth.
Oh, yes. In Stanton, Virginia, we have the Shakespeare Theater there, and they have a wonderful season, and it's one of the top, I would say it is the top Shakespearean theater in the country, outside of England.
And of course, Northern Virginia. What do you think of when I say the word Northern Virginia?
Exciting. There's so much to do in Northern Virginia, and because it's very much a urban, suburban community, that there's a great mixture of living, working, and playing in Northern Virginia. Again, along with the public art, with, again, great eating establishments. It's a place where you can find, in a very dense area, so many wonderful things to do, and again, to walk in history. And wine country is right there immersed between Fairfax, Arlington, and so much history in Alexandria. But also, if you look at the history of Fairfax County, you can find that there are museums and there are historic homes that you can take in. There's Wolf Trap for music, and they have such an amazing season at Wolf Trap. And music, you know, becomes a big part of people's experience when they come to Virginia, from bluegrass to country to gospel to contemporary.
And of course, we can't leave out the Eastern Shore. Westmoreland County, Northumberland, they are beautiful as well.
Oh yes, again, lots of history and lots of eco travel. If you love outdoors and if you love taking in birding and love beautiful walks and just to see it from this vantage point of, for example, Westmoreland County, Stafford, Robert E. Lee's early home, there's so much to see and do, and there are cabins and fishing opportunities up and along the York River. And Eastern Shore, there's nothing like it. I mean, all of the Eastern Shore is a beautiful palette for outdoor wildlife, again, state parks as well as National Park Service locations.
And of course, where we are today, Richmond, Central Virginia.
Our history. Here we are, sitting here doing this General Assembly session, and from the perch of the General Assembly building and the state capitol. Our state capitol, of course, Jefferson inspired and built, and has such a wonderful history to tell of, again, not only making laws, but making important contributions to our country. And we were sitting here in 2007 when the Queen visited us. You know, there's so many great memories of opportunities that have happened at the Capitol, and visitors who come, because when filmmakers come and they walk through our Capitol hallways, they go, "Can we move the Washington statue?" And the answer is always no, you can't. But George Washington has been in a lot of great movies, I will say that. The Udon statue that the French gave to Virginia as a gift is a wonderful visitor attraction when people come to the Capitol for tours. And you know, the Capitol's open 5 days a week for tours, and visitors love to walk the hallways of where so much history has been made in our House chamber and our storied Senate chamber. It's a beautiful place.
Well, great. Well, thank you for being with us today, Rita McClenny, President and CEO of the Virginia Tourism Corporation. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Woody. It's been my pleasure.
Thanks for watching a special edition of Cable Reports, brought to you by the Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association. Until next time, I'm Woody Evans. But part of it was we got to show the 5 minutes.